The ModernJeeper Show, the show about Jeeps, Jeeping, and Jeepers.
Well, hey, Modern Jeepers, Matt's from Metalcloak here, and it's another episode of the ModernJeeper Show with Mr. Modern Jeeper Corey Osborne.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, Rockstar Jeep Girl Jessy.
Hello.
Hi, guys. Where are you at right now?
We are in Lone Pine, California. We have,
Is there a
some
lone
of our
pine
followers.
there? Is there a single
What's that?
lone? Is there like
Just
a single
one
one pine?
We actually, Jesse and I actually talked about this. They should actually rename these towns because Big Pine is very small. So Lone Pine is much bigger than Big Pine. So we should switch those names.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, you should.
Yes.
You should just go down and make a sign change. They wouldn't mind.
I don't think they'll mind.
Yeah, you could just send a message to Google saying, "Just can you change the names?" So
Yeah,
Google Maps.
right.
You know, it's
Right.
funny. I heard somebody saying that the other day, like they were very astonished by a website that was in like 1995, 96. Said, yeah, the website was so cool. And like they actually had driving directions on there, like how to get to their office from the airport and stuff. And I'm thinking, yeah, we all freaking did because you had maps back then because you didn't know how to do it. You didn't have it on your phone how to get someplace. You went to a website and you've tried to figure out where they're located, or you pulled out your Thomas guide. And like, remember the Thomas guide? I had that laying next to my seat when I was a pizza delivery guy, like right laying in my seat. You just grab that Thomas guide, try to figure out where to get to that next place. Yeah.
Well, and it is funny, and we should talk a little bit about that whole technology thing. We've been out here pre-running different routes because of the flooding in Death Valley National Park, and I rely heavily on the technology side, on apps and Gaia and topo maps that I can get online. But it's also amazing. Roger Mitchell wrote a number of really good, very thorough books, and he was actually he calls himself an underground geologist. But it's funny to look at a map and go, oh yeah, so this is a great route. But to actually words with it and look at a map that is in a book on paper or even a paper map, sometimes there's just a different feeling and you can get a better sense of where you're going, what you're doing. And of course, when you put words with it and a paragraph describing it, that makes it 100 times better.
Sure.
But yeah, things have been interesting for the last, 4 and 5 days that we've been overlanding or camping.
Rock landing.
Definitely the rock landing side. Rocklander Adventure Club is a pretty elite group, and I guarantee you the folks that are coming with us on this next Death Valley trip will earn their Rocklander Adventure Club stickers.
Yes, that's awesome. So tell us a little bit about this trip. What's it going to be like?
So we're going to go to some places that we've just that not very many people get to see. We come across a lot of people that go, yeah, we've been to Death Valley, we've been to Furnace Creek, and we've seen bad water, and we've been down the roads. Where we're going, there are no roads.
We don't need no stinking roads. We got 4 low, man. We got 4 low.
Yeah,
we don't
right.
need no stinking roads.
So yeah, we're going to spend very little time actually in the park. We're going to see some pretty amazing stuff inside the park, but we're spending a lot of our time on the north end. The middle section of the park kind of took the most damage from the flooding, and a lot of the roads are still closed. Daylight Pass over into Beatty, Town Pass outside of Stovepipe, those roads are still closed. Now you can kind of make your way through the park, and I've ran, I don't know, 14, 15 different plans for this trip in my mind and on paper. And literally right now, it's just very, very difficult. We're very limited fuel wise in the north end of the park. So, and getting through the center of the park is kind of a challenge too. And it's kind of some of the trips that we've done in the past would incorporate a lot of those areas. But for this year, we really wanted to do something unique and something different.
We were kind of forced to do that. So
Yeah. We're not going to go into places that are what we call redlined from the National Park Service. There's going to be some backcountry stuff though, and it's going to be challenging. It's going to be different than us driving down a graded road for 40 miles. There will be some of that just in order for us to get to certain places. But there's some very unique things in Death Valley. And when we first started coming out here with Dell years ago, we've forgotten, because we see those unique things. They're not unique to us anymore. Well, this trip has some things that are even unique to us. So amazing views and scenery, and like it's just we forget how big Death Valley is. There's so much to see that we're going to travel in a part of the park that we've not gotten to before. Wow. So, and we're going to do some stuff outside of the park that is on this side in the Sierra Nevadas. It's just crazy. The Inyo County is giant. I mean, all of this side of the Saline Valley, between Saline Valley and the Sierra Nevadas, it's massive. So even outside of the park, there's still a lot of mining. The scenery is it's mind blowing. So I think we've put together a pretty good trip. I think it's going to be very unique. I think people are going to be challenged by it. You
should show them our notes that we've written down for the co-dog here.
Yeah, my navigator.
Mapping,
and
timing.
Literally, we have like
pages and pages.
Wow.
Pages.
Wow.
Pages of, there's a lot.
Yellow
to
pads
putting
live
one of
on.
Yeah. There's a lot of there's a lot of planning that goes into these trips, and I think people understand that. It's kind of funny to me though when you look at a Death Valley map or you talk to people that have been here before. Even and the folks that have been out here with us, they understand. But for people who have never been, you'd think, well, I'm just going to go to a national park. What's the big deal? Well, the big deal is we're talking about 5,400 square miles of big deal. Like it's expansive. It just keeps going and going. When you think you're done for the day, you look at a map and you go, it's only 23 more miles. Yeah. Well, at 3 miles an hour, that's like 7 hours. So, yeah.
Well, it's like the Rubicon Trail, right? Oh, yeah. It's only like 21 miles. Like, what is it? Rubicon's like 21 or something like that. You don't get it. Yeah. Then again, or it's also like, some commutes in Sacramento, downtown Sacramento. It was only 1 mile to get from one side of the town to the other. It took me 4 hours. But and it's funny, in Sacramento, the obstacles aren't rocks; it's homeless.
You got to watch out for the homeless. Not very many homeless people in Death Valley.
4 low or 4 high. I think 4 high works better on homeless than 4 low. There's no homeless in Death Valley.
No homeless in Death Valley.
There are people that look homeless, but they're really not.
We should send the homeless to Death Valley. Hey, by the way, have the homeless started coming into Colorado yet? Now that Denver's like offering, $1,000 per person.
I haven't seen any.
Well, see, now it's cold, so no. They're like, hey, it gets cold.
You get a lot of warm schnapps for $1,000.
Yeah.
This is true. Yeah. We don't know. We haven't been home. I have no idea what's going on in Colorado.
Oh, that's true. You guys are technically homeless too. No, you're vagabonding. Vagabonding.
Gypsies.
We should do a vagabonding trip, like a ModernJeeper vagabonding trip. Well, that's where you have nothing. You just bare essentials. It would be a different kind of overlanding. Like for me, I'm thinking about going to Death Valley. Like last couple times I did it, I loaded up all the camping gear and I had my meal and I wanted to bring out my kitchen and do the whole meal prep. I'm thinking about going like backpacking style. It's like you and Philip did. Like just bring the warm up meals and cook them up real quick and just do it just have my jet boil the entire time. I mean,
we've already done that.
That's what you guys are just doing.
It's been too cold when we get somewhere. Like wind 100 miles an hour and everything else is like, no.
Are you bringing food, Jessy? Are you making a meal?
Of course. It's still sitting in the refrigerator.
Yeah, and that's the other issue. We talk about it every time we go out.
Yeah.
We bring far more than we'll ever need. We could be out
Mhm.
there for a month and be totally fine, because the stuff we typically bring we don't ever use. It's really hard when you're scouting because you're taking multiple different directions, seeing where this road goes, seeing where that road goes. So by the time you get into camp, I got to tell you, we had a night a couple of nights ago outside of the park that was we camped at 9,000 feet. It was 28 degrees and the wind was blowing. We got into camp about 6 p.m. and it's a different experience when you can't feel your fingers when you're outside and all you want to do is crawl into your sleeping bag. So literally, I think by 8 o'clock, we were in the tent asleep, lights out, trying to stay warm.
That does not sound fun. I'm sorry, but
No.
I went to go, it's 50 degrees here in the mornings right now. And I went yesterday to wash, and everybody who listened to Matsonian Live on Instagram heard me talk about this because I went and just washed the Jeep, sprayed down the Jeep. Just that little minute of the cold water and stuff started numbing my fingers. My finger circulation is such that they get numb fast. So in other words, bring the big ass mittens, right? That's what I got to do. Bring the big ass mittens.
Well, we've tried to keep it to where the campsites will be a little bit better protected. Of course, it's again when we're scouting, it's hard to have that. We just get to a point where we can't drive no more. We're tired. Let's camp. And then we, add our time into the next day
And
to
we're
see
fighting
how
daylight.
we can. Yeah, we're always fighting daylight. So, yeah, it's a challenge, and I think we are still loaded heavy, and we're going to talk a little bit about with our groups. These trips are all about saving fuel and protecting your tires essentially, because when you have 100 miles either direction to go find fuel, and you don't have enough, well, there's nothing that we can fix to increase that. And it's funny, it really changes how I drive. It changes how Jessy drives. All of these areas, there's those times, when you go off-roading and you're like, I'm just going to throttle up this thing and it's no big deal. There's none of that. Like none. You don't get on the throttle because you're conserving fuel every second you're driving. You're trying not to give it too much gas because you're going to have to. We rolled out of Beatty with a full tank in the Gladiator. We rolled into Big Pine. Well, the Gladiator took 18 and a half gallons.
And let me ask you this. So you're doing that now, are you properly re-geared for your tires? And is anything set up? So you're still running stock gears and you got 38-inch tires. Okay. So I'm the same setup. I'm just curious because once you re-gear and there's all kinds Justin's running 48s with his 40s. And so he gets better overall mileage with it. So I'm just curious about what your consumption was burning. You guys running a Taser at all?
Yeah, there's a Taser Mini in it. And so it's been recalibrated. And I'm guessing you're going to probably be a little lighter than us. I mean,
I'm going to be lighter. I'm not taking as much stuff. And, but I'm also thinking about, okay, now I need to bring the spare, right? And which is an interesting point because my spare actually is sitting under a shelf over in production, not even mounted to the wheel. So I need to have that get done.
Well, yeah, you need to bring a spare in case we need it.
Yeah, in case you guys need it, sure. That'd be kind of like that. Right? That'd be kind of like wearing a Nike on one foot and wearing a big Claude on the second foot. I don't know if it worked for you. My wheels are heavy. Those black Rhinos are heavy.
Oh yeah.
But that being said, yes, I should probably bring a spare and then figure out how to mount it. Which means I've got the overcab system, but I've got the rack on the overcab. So maybe I couldn't mount the spare.
It'd be easier if you did that, yeah.
On the overcab and then the tent on the backpack. Even though I'm not going to have, I can't imagine I'm not going to have a lot of stuff. I'll bring some wood.
You can put it in the back. Probably you can put it in the bed.
What I will bring though is I'm going to bring some of those campfire candles. I'll bring a couple of those. Yeah. They work out really good. They're a little individual personalized, but they're they're about yay big, and they're soy candles, and they burn for hours and hours, and they make great little campfires. In case we have, because you're in your email, you talked about wanting to bring out fire rings and propane bottles and all that.
Yeah, so I actually ordered a little firebox from a company called Tacticool.
Firebox.
It's Tacticool because there's two. Firebox is like lava box, I think they call it, and then there's Tacticool. Tacticool. We had one. Shambliss with Elevated Experience brought one of these little mini. It's half the size of an ammo can. He ran that thing on medium off of they're like little, I think they're 5-pound propane tanks. On medium, that thing it'll last 10 hours.
Is that like, okay? Oh, I forgot. We saw this at the Overland Expo, and
yes,
you bought one of those. Okay.
Well,
you bought the smaller version.
I didn't. Shambliss did.
Okay.
Well, I ordered one after our Colorado trip. I ordered one. The problem is it came while we've been gone.
So it's
supposed to come before.
I actually reached out to them to see if they could ship me another one, and maybe they can ship it to me while we're in Las Vegas.
Because you're not going home now. You're not going home. You're going to Vegas, getting ready for SEMA, doing SEMA, and then literally like heading out Saturday morning. You're heading out Friday night or Saturday morning after SEMA?
Saturday morning,
the 5th, and heading up to Beatty. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But that little firebox, that thing put out a flame 3 feet high.
Wow. How long did it last?
It was 10 hours.
10 hours?
Yeah.
How big was the
little tank?
The little tank? Okay, not like the little, but it can run the small ones too, right?
It can run the small ones. Yeah, it can run the 1-pounders. We have a little 5-pounder that we bought, and that's what he had, and it lasted. It lasted the whole trip. 3 nights of camping.
Wow.
Because we can't have campfires that we're encountering, so
there's a lot of places that don't allow campfires inside the park. We can have campfires in designated fire rings.
Right. Interesting. Huh. So
but these little propane fires are awesome.
So is that different from like last year when you guys were earlier in the spring? You guys went out, you're like in the middle in the Joshua trees and stuff. Did you guys have a fire there when you had that?
We did. Yeah, we did. Yeah. Because we were actually outside the park.
Okay. So outside the park you can. Inside the park there are limitations.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. How much of the trip?
In some places outside the park, if you're in like Inyo National Forest, National Forest is under a fire ban.
National Forest, right? Versus BLM land or whatever. So,
right.
So how much of this trip is going to be in the park? How much is out of the park?
I'd say 50-50.
Yep.
50-50.
50-50. And again, the Park Service, a shout out to those folks. They're working as best they can to get some of these roads open, but they've lost
roads,
literally sections of roads. And you think, well, that's fine. We have 4-wheel drives. Well, when you come to the end of pavement and there's like a 7 to 8 foot drop into a wash, that's a little different.
Well, all the water ran under the highway roads too, and just took out sections of highway, just gone.
Wow.
Gone.
Wow.
So that's what our issue is. And plus we, as a permitted group, we obey what we're supposed to do.
That's right.
And not go where we're not supposed to go, even though we could probably do it.
Boring.
I know. We're such gooders.
We're just rule followers. It's horrible.
Is it? Jeez.
Yeah.
Gosh, what are you thinking?
But we found some really cool stuff. So
yeah,
that's awesome.
You'll love it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited. I'm excited to get away. I'm excited to take Jack with us. I am constantly thinking about Jack as a variable because, usually we don't bring kids out and, the wanting to go to bed earlier. He's going to want to go to bed before, and then he's not going to go to bed by himself. And then I'm going to want to hang out with you guys. But then it sounds like it's going to be too cold to hang out. So we're just going to eat and sleep. And, then there's by the way, for all of those listeners, Death Valley is one of the trips where we recommend a certain age. We don't require it. There are other trips where we require age restrictions. This is a recommended age restriction. And part of that is because of things that all the variables I'm going to be dealing with. Like there's going to be the mid-run potty break. Daddy, I need to go potty. And I could, we could be going down a little cliff edge or something. It's Daddy, I need to go potty. I mean, what do you do? Like you gotta hold it, son. Here's a bottle, son. I mean, it's just there's other things I got to figure out, right? Kid, you're wearing a diaper today. I don't wear a diaper anymore. That's okay. Daddy's worn adult diapers when he raced. You can wear a diaper right now, big boy. It's okay. But you got these other variables now that I'd be thinking about bringing a kid along to this kind of trips. Not to mention, like we talked about last week about, obviously you don't have those kind of issues out there, but having rattlesnakes or other things. Are there rattlesnakes in Death Valley?
Yes.
There are. We've never come across
Prolific?
any.
Never seen one?
No. Right.
What are the biggest predators in Death Valley?
Predators.
Probably the Air Force jets.
Yeah.
Do they fly predator drones through there?
You're more worried about the cactuses than you are rattlesnakes. And we're not playing in the sand, so the sidewinders, and it's cold. So I doubt they're going to be out very much. We haven't seen any.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. You think about that because you've got those burrows out there all over the place, right? You got the burrows, and you hear them at night, which is amazing. If you haven't been to Death Valley and like been middle of the night, you're just late in the dawn or whatever, early in the morning, you just hear the burrows going and then start talking to each other. It's pretty awesome. But what is there's no predator for the burrows, right?
No.
There's no big cats hanging out there in the Serengeti, or in this case, Death Valley, taking out the burrows.
I did find a tarantula this time.
We did see a tarantula. Which is, that's kind of that argument of why we sleep in rooftop tents versus tents on the ground. But a tarantula, they're just as afraid of us as we are of them. They go back in their holes. They're not going to come out. Yeah. But I just have this thing about them crawling into one of my shoes and then me putting a shoe on in the morning or something like that.
We've all been trained by James Bond movies to fear tarantulas, right? And the reality is you put your hand out. And there's a trail called the Trail Through Time that's up here at Mount Diablo. And you walk that trail, you're going to come across tarantulas walking across the trail. It's just like, they're just like ants. Like they'll be there just as often. And you just go, okay, that's kind of cool. I mean, they don't jump at you. They're not sitting on you. They're not going to try to attack your leg, right? They're just going on doing their business. As much as your daddy long legs are at home, you attack them, they'll get you. But you could actually put out your hand if you were so daring and bold, and they'll walk right on it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're daring and bold. But, that's also could be dumb. So don't do that. Don't do dumb things.
So don't do that.
You're not taking advice from me, please. No tarantula shaming advice from me. But, I mean, it's just so tarantulas and some snakes out there.
Lizards, and there's some
buzzards,
animals, some critters. Yeah,
buzzards. I mean, birds and
mostly ravens.
Ravens.
Yeah.
Yeah. For all
do
our
you
listeners,
know the difference between a raven and a crow?
I do. My question is our listeners. There's a good question for our listeners to put into the comment section today, and we'll actually consider that part of our giveaway for this week's episode's giveaway. Another Metalcloak Maglite. Boom, 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 boom.
Boom.
There's a specific difference between ravens and crows. And if you tell us in the comments what that difference is, and don't just go copying everybody else, guys. Like, give a reason why you think that's the case. Yeah. Maybe we'll have to give to the first right answer. I don't know. But just put in there what the difference is between ravens and crows. And we're not talking about the type of feathers they have. We're not talking about the beaks, and that one likes trash, the other one likes raw meat. We're looking and
one has a comic book page, one doesn't.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's a very specific thing. That's a very odd thing that you wouldn't think about, but it's a very specific thing. So, speaking of which, we are having our $5,000 giveaway.
That's right.
5 days. This is week number 2 of the $5,000 giveaway. If you don't count the bonus week, if you don't know what the bonus week is, well, then you haven't been listening. So go back and listen. The $5,000 giveaway, which we've got to figure out what the keyword is. Maybe we still have time this episode to figure that out. I have a feeling I actually want to change the rules a little bit. And
Okay.
and the $5,000 giveaway rules are about the same, right? We what people are doing, and they have to do it. They have to share with us. When we do at the end of the 5 weeks, we'll let them know how they're going to tell us what the 5 keywords are. But during the week, I want to do something a little bit more, because part of the purpose of this is to grow our audience, right? So we need to think of a clever way where our attendees are actually helping to grow our audience, right? So
Yes.
so we'll work on that, but you guys need to find ways, and if you actually suggest some interesting ideas, I'll give you all kinds of swag, but how to grow the audience better and how to do it with this contest. So one of the things I was thinking, instead of just making comments or making likes or all that kind of stuff, like, we really need them to be out there participating or sharing, right? And maybe that means that we need to start, like, we will watch Instagram and Facebook as 2 social media points, right? And if you are sharing this podcast and you hashtag ModernJeeper Show, hashtag ModernJeeper Show, and share the podcast, each of these shows, and hashtag ModernJeeper Show, you will get bonus points and bonus chance to win. But the whole point is to get other people to come and watch the show, right? And be a part of it. That's why we're doing a giveaway. It's not just for us because we love giving stuff away, because we do. It's a lot of fun. But the whole point of this is to grow the show and get more people. So we need you. You will get bonus points, and bonus points for each share if you go out there and share in social media. And I don't care where it is. If you're on Pinterest, if you're on, Facebook, Instagram, if you're on, what are some of these other ones, like Clubhouse, these other ones out there, OnlyFans. I mean,
sharing is caring.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I have no way of identifying if you actually done it there. Even forums, guys. If you're on forums, if you're on Jail Wrangler forum or Gladiator forum or Jeep forum or Jeep JK forum, or I recently added Metalcloak as a sponsor of JK Wrangler forum. I started doing TJ Wrangler forum again. And so if you're on these forums or Facebook, whatever, just post and share. But you have to use the hashtag ModernJeeper Show. And if you don't use that hashtag, I won't be able to find you.
Yeah, we won't be able to find it.
We will find you, and we will find a way to give you extra bonus points for doing that. If you're doing it on one of these locations where you have a very unique username, right? Like on Reddit or something, where it's a very private, unique username, you've got to send me a message. You got to send me an email, matts@metalcloak.com, and let us know that, hey, I posted it here, and here, and here's my usernames on Reddit. Here's my username, because we can't tell if you go just put
we won't be able
hashtag.
to find it otherwise.
Yeah,
right.
Otherwise it's all anonymous, and we won't be able to track you down and be like, hey, that guy who said this and whose Reddit username is I suck these things, but whatever. I mean, Reddit usernames are always pretty dumb. But if I was going to say something else, but I decided to be PG-13 instead. And if you have these, whatever you do, but share it out there, you will get bonus points with a chance to win this big giveaway at the end of 5 weeks. Does that sound good?
I like it. Yeah, I like it.
Guys, you just witnessed a brainstorming session where my brain was storming.
Yeah, that was good. I mean, again, we're so blessed to have anybody that tends to pay attention to what we're doing and where we're at and what's going on in both of our worlds.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of
it's the only place here that anybody pays attention to me anyway. So
well, you guys have had a lot going on though. You've got all of the I'm going to call them the sub Metalcloak products, the garage stuff. There's a lot of that stuff coming out. There's always something new. The latest, the vents for the JLs and the Gladiators, that front fender vent.
The air louvers.
So then that's the fun stuff. So it's kind of interesting because we get people like the haters are out there like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to buy a suspension from a company that makes a bracket, right? Like that goes onto the wall, or makes something that holds my spray cans or a bird feeder. The funny thing is that stuff most of that's coming from one individual who happens to have a degree in industrial design, not mechanical engineering. And the best way to take somebody who has this amazing design capability, because he's an incredible designer and he can do some real cool stuff, and have him learn the process of mechanical engineering and how to take something to product, is have him do simple things, right? You don't dive somebody like that into a big project. You dive them into these little things. Super easy to do. We go through a couple of iterations. We like it. We go and we pull the trigger, and they're popular. People love them. They're popular, right? The funny thing is that the probably one of the most expensive parts on it is the gold zinc. Like, we're actually looking at how to do it to bring off so it doesn't have the gold zinc. It has the gold chromate without the actual zinc part. We're working on that because most of those are inside products. They're not outside products.
Right.
And then, it could be an extra, there's a significant cost in what we're having to charge you, the customer, because of the gold zinking, which is in most cases cheaper than powder coat. But other companies just sell the stuff raw. Well, we decided we have a certain signature. We don't want to sell it raw, so we're gonna sell it. We could try raw. I mean, raw would be a significant different price, but it's very popular, and so big Metalcloak pieces in there, and so it's just a fun way of doing it. We have some other stuff coming down the pike that that have been working on for a while, that he's been working on. That's just gonna be fun, and they're great new additions of stuff. Heck, right now we're about to release, and for probably by the guys listening to this, we'll hear about it, and maybe we'll actually do it as a giveaway as part of it. But Metalcloak just produced and has in hand a limited edition of pure 9.999 pure fine silver coins. I don't even have one to show you here. I don't even have one on my desk, but just imagine it's your standard size, like silver coin,
like your challenge coin.
Like a challenge coin. It's a 1 ounce coin. It's going to be going live here in the next day or two. Just waiting for one more. The thing is that the page is done, but there's no perspective to show size. So I'm asking them to add perspective to show size to it. But it's just like a challenge coin, except it is Metalcloak on front and rear, and it is 0.999 of fine silver. It's a 1 ounce coin. It is pretty cool because it's just why do we do that? Just for the fun of it, right? Because we could. And we ordered these probably, I think they got ordered last year, right? And they just got made.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah. And so they just got made. We're here now. So it's like, okay, cool. They're going to be on the website. I think they're going to be sold for 40 something bucks, and it's probably 20 something dollars in silver. So it's just a commemorative piece. And it's just a fun thing, but we can do it because we can and like to put it in between. But the real big products that just came out, which has been huge, are twofold. First, we came out with a 4.5 inch lift for the 392. And that's big. Now, it is a known factor that at certain lift heights, the 392, because of how they did the front axle and the full-time four-wheel drive and everything set up, and it doesn't have the FAD like the JLs do.
Right.
It can have some vibrations, and it's been varying. Like, we've put it on a bunch of different, some rigs, not very much. Some people that'll front line. Some people can really feel that front drive shaft vibration. Some people can't. And it's been kind of interesting, but people love the kit, so we're out there with it.
Well, I have on my JL, I have the full time. That whole front axle is CV joints, all of it. It's like the 392 front end on my JL. That's how I ordered it.
Yeah, and just the 3.5 inch kit, and it's been fine.
Yeah.
We did replace the front drive shaft though, so
yeah.
You did, yeah, upgraded it. So, and it's not even a matter of that. It's just a matter of the fact that you have the full-time four-wheel drive goings. So but at 4.5, it tends to have a little bit more vibration than others. But people love it, and they love it. It's the trade-off to be able to have the bigger tires with the bigger setup on it, and so that's cool. The other thing that we came out with, and this is the big game changer for us I should say for our customers. I'm an advocate of the DB3. I love the DB3. I think it's a great solution. I think it has good road handling qualities and capabilities, but some people really wanted a long arm, and we appreciate them. So we finally came out with an Off-Road Expo. We talked about it, our full rear long arm system. It's a bolt-on system. I mean, it truly is bolt-on with these super long flag nuts. I mean, these flag nuts are about like a foot long.
Oh yeah,
that
get
goes
in the frame.
Get them inside the frame in the right location. It's a pretty incredible little setup that was done, but full bolt-on JK rear long arm kit. So we just released that kit as an upgrade. If you already have a kit and you want it with the DB3 and you want to take that out, and then we added the new full kit. So we have the 4.5 and 5.5 inch 4-link full, what we're calling our full or complete long arm kits. and then our version for the lock and load as well. And yes, JL guys, they're coming too. So the JL kits are just about to go live, probably a couple weeks away before going live and getting in production. So that's kind of the big stuff. Awesome. So we've been busy. You know who else has been busy? HBO has been busy.
Yes.
So HBO has been busy, and they got a lot of cool stuff. And I've actually started watching HBO Max. Well, let's see. I'm watching House of Dragons right now. So which has been good. It's kind of my show now. I've got to make sure and watch it on Sundays and watch House of Dragons. And it's been pretty good. That they just finished the first season. Pretty dark show, but so is the times. And it's same with Game of Thrones. It was kind of that way. So that one. What else I'm watching on House? I'm also watching Pennyworth, the story of Batman's butler. That's a good HBO Max show. That's pretty cool. It's like they're in season 3 or 4 now. 3, I think, and it's a fun show, and it makes Alfred Pennyworth to be a badass. He is a true badass. I started watching Gotham again, which was kind of fun. Just another fun one to watch. There's all stuff. By the way,
I don't think we've seen Gotham. Well, we've not ever done the HBO Max thing. We
barely get to watch TV. Are you kidding?
Yeah, we tried to do the Netflix series when they come out and that kind of stuff, but yeah, it's so hard. We end up trying to stream in a hotel room or something like that if we're somewhere.
Yeah.
But recently HBO Max, it kind of hit one out of the park, I think.
They did. So I have seen it. You guys have not, so we won't talk about any spoilers. But here it is. We'll actually, for all of our listeners, we'll actually watch the trailer right now, and we'll get that point. Well, if you're a watcher, you'll watch the trailer. If you're a listener, you'll listen to the trailer. And as I cue it up right here.
3, 2, 1. Give it to him.
440.4. From day one, Jessy has been a goal setter.
She's always been pretty fearless. When she was comfortable, she was very confident. But she lives in this world, which is male-dominated.
I've won. I've beat hundreds of dudes. But I have to push harder. I have to do things bigger, better.
What makes you happy?
Changing the world.
She's a dangerous woman. In a chance she won't.
Back in the day, Kitty was the fastest female on 4 wheels. And I have your blessing to break your record. I'm not afraid of dying, but I'm not ready to die.
If you're chasing adventures, you're gonna have to sacrifice having a relationship.
It's not as glamorous as it seems. I can't have a family and try and break a world land speed record. But it's what I was born for.
We're no longer testing. We're running for records.
What keeps me going is knowing that I have what it takes. The moment I start doubting myself is the moment something's gonna go wrong. I have to trust myself.
Shut it down. Shut it down.
Oh my gosh, this is really happening. You don't have to live in fear. You can live in courage and live completely free.
She's a dangerous woman.
All right, so we'll do that. And for Gary, our production guy, go ahead and cut that in and splice the trailer in there. That is, I got to tell you guys. So of course they're going to watch it no matter what. I mean, this could have been the worst made documentary ever, and I would have watched it. And it's not. It is actually an incredibly well done documentary. Without going spoilers, it really gets into not only her and her life, but also what she was chasing and the whole world of fastest women, right? And the women that have gone before her, the women like Kitty O'Neill, who was the current fastest, who held the record for so long, and the triumphs and the problems in her life and the challenges she was faced with, right? It really happens. She goes out. I will say one thing: she goes out and visits Kitty, like has to meet this person. But you think about everything that Jessy was involved in, and every one of us only touched her at one part of her life, right? And I mean, and I'm first to admit, I was not a friend of Jessy. She probably didn't know who I was, right? I knew of her. I'd say hi to her. I never sat down and had like a big conversation with her. We didn't hang out and drink or anything, right? Unlike you. And so for me, it was kind of enlightening to see a lot about who she was, where she came from, why she was the way she was, how the struggles that she constantly fought with. And it does a great job of bringing her out and having her out and understanding who she was besides what she was doing, right? Besides her challenges, besides her goals. It's pretty spectacular. So once you guys get a chance to watch it, and then we'll get together and talk about it and really talk about her.
Sure.
And I even want to kind of revisit our episode from the day that she passed. So bring your tissues, because this is going to be one of those. When we finally do that, it's going to be a sob story. But I want to review all of that. But guys, get out there.
It was hard enough watching that trailer for sure.
Yeah, I've only seen we were on the Elevated Experience, whatever that was, a couple weeks ago, and Philip brought his phone up to me, and I watched about a minute of it and had to tell him to take it away. So
yeah, like I said, it's going to be a tough one, but what a great honor that she's going to have. I mean, she already was a legend. This just solidifies that legend so much more.
Yes.
And well done to HBO Max, well done to the producers, well done to those who've taken all this and actually created and the inspiration. I'd love to know the story behind this. At some point, we'll learn the story behind putting this together, whose inspiration was before about it. But they spent a few years putting it together. They didn't just slap something on to try to capture some attention. They created something that would last a lifetime. Generations will be watching this, and it's a great testament to her. And it's great. It's an interesting documentation of what happened too. I mean, there's I'll say this. I remember when it happened, there was like rumors about video floating around, and people had been bootlegging some video of what occurred, and I didn't listen. I didn't want to see it. I didn't watch it. I wasn't trying to do my search and try to find it and see who had it and try to see what was going on. I didn't want to. There is a lot of video, and they did a very good job of capturing the important stuff to show what occurred. And so my point of saying that is for all of you out there is we should make this documentary one of the most watched documentaries of all time, right? Whether you are a Jeeper, whether you are a racer, an off-roader, whether you just like or whether you just you like watching TV, whatever it is, there's a part of her that touches all of us. Whether it's just women's rights, she did an incredible amount. What she did has inspired that and built up women's rights to an nth degree. And so let's all get out there, share it with your friends, tell your friends, get on there and watch it. Yes, it's on HBO Max, but you can get on there, have watching viewing parties, whatever. Just make HBO incredibly proud that they spent the time and money and energy to create this documentary.
We will actually be so next week at SEMA. I think it's on Tuesday.
Yeah, it's on Tuesday night.
Tuesday night, the foundation, Jessy Combs Foundation, is putting on another charity event and a celebration of her and what she did at the Las Vegas Harley Davidson.
Last year I got a tattoo.
Yeah, last year.
Her tattoo artist was there.
Her tattoo gal was there.
Wow.
And we're going as guests of Warn again this year. So we'll be stopping by there to see her friends and her supporters. And again, it's a fundraising event. So that's next week. So
yeah, well, you even meet a couple of recipients of her foundation's scholarships are in the documentary. So it's pretty cool. And including the first one. But there's a lot of stuff you guys learn. And again, no more spoilers. Just get out there and watch this damn thing, because it's worth it. It's worth every minute of it. I couldn't even wait. Like my wife and I were to sit down and watch it, and I couldn't wait. I just turned it on and went for it. And couldn't peel myself away. Right. Except for
it's super, super hard for me still, even to think about it.
Yeah, no, I can tell. But it's a great way to put a cap on it in my, in what occurred. All right, guys, so get out there and watch that. So now that I brought you down.
Thanks, Matthew.
It's all good. It's all good. We need to come up with our word of the week.
So our word of the week, the word of the week. What were we talking about? We were talking about well, a lot of it was Death Valley, and you said something at one point while we're doing Death Valley. And what was the word you said? Gosh, you were describing some of the roads, and it wasn't the washes. What was it? What was the term you used earlier, like in the pre-show, Jesse? You were talking about the roads and the rocks and the
rock garden or the gravens.
The gravens. Gravens. What do you use? Is that? It's
a graven. It's. You explain it. He's better at it.
So, well, let's back up a little bit.
Sure.
So, part of what the flooding has done in Death Valley is what I talk extensively about the alluvial fans. So these alluvial fans are created when basically the water runs through off these mountains, and it creates this little cavern, a little canyon, and then all of that sediment, all of that rock basically runs out into the valley floor. Well, Death Valley is a prime example of massive alluvial fans. So this recent flood, it is a once in a lifetime, like I've never seen it in my lifetime. And yeah, it was a 1,000-year flood. So right now, going through Death Valley, you're able to see these alluvial fans have new crevices in them of additional sediment that has washed out of these mountains.
Wow.
It's the craziest thing, and we'll probably never again see something like that in our lifetime. So traveling across an alluvial fan is kind of a challenge. When you're going with the direction of a fan, you're coming down the way the sediment traveled. When you have to cross it, well, you're going through basically washes and all of these dips and valleys. It's very slow going. And I kind of have a different idea for a word, because it's something. It's something that when you'll experience it on our second day, and you're gonna see something as we come down into the valley, and you're gonna have an exclamation. And I can see where a lot
can't
of
use profanity.
Death Valley. Yeah, no profanity. You're gonna welcome the fact that we have a little bit of pavement for a bit, because the washboards aren't bad, but there's an area that we're going to visit, and I think the miners had the same kind of comment when they visited the place, and they either struck a vein or whatnot, but that word is eureka.
Eureka. All right.
Eureka.
I can do it. I can do that. Eureka.
Eureka.
Not to be mistaken with Eureka, but Eureka.
Eureka, yes.
Eureka, everybody. That's the word of the week.
You know, there are some roads out there. There are some roads out in Death Valley right now that literally, for those that have been out there with us before or been to Death Valley and they've visited the racetrack playa, well, these roads make the racetrack look like a paved parkway.
Mm.
And the racetrack was one of the most washboarded rough roads in the valley. It ain't got nothing on some of these roads that we're gonna visit.
Racetrack ain't got nothing when you got Patagonia 38s aired down to about 12, 15, running with a Metalcloak game changer 3.5-inch suspension. That racetrack is smooth as silk, baby.
It is.
If you don't have that, you have some other suspension on it, all your stuff gets shaken off and it just falls apart. But when it's the difference between this or when you're actually driving like with a Metalcloak 3.5-inch game changer suspension, it's like,
and totally a shout out to the guys at Milestar, our friends, Kelly, Martin, Andrew, all those guys. Like that tire, this MT02, we don't have to worry about it as much. of when we're in an area, and about because this area wants to take your tires out, and we haven't had an issue, knock on wood, but yeah,
I'm knocking wood.
good stuff.
Yes.
So
big chunk of wood right there.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Well, I'm still going to properly overland, which means be properly prepared. Just like
yes.
The last issue of Rocklander will go out this week. The adventures,
cool.
And this is where Rocklander gets his rig back, and his exciting methods that what he gets to do to get his Gladiator back into his own hands, and then he goes off into the sunset. Now, and then we have the second chapter has actually been written, but I'm thinking about changing up the artist, so we'll see how it goes. But this one, the second issue, has a lot to do with hot springs, but we just see how it goes.
Cool.
But yeah, if you're getting out there, as a Rocklander would say, you got to be prepared. And the way you're prepared is you have the proper equipment. The way you have the proper equipment is by knowing and thinking about, when you go camping, what is it you're trying to be prepared for, right? And in our cases, when it comes to overlanding and giving you suggestions and stuff for getting out there, it's like, come on, just be prepared for contingencies. You guys mentioned you carry more food than you'd actually need. Well, that's part of your contingency. If you get stuck out there, it's not about like, I've got 3 days worth of food because we're going to be out there for 3 days. What happens if something happens? You're out there for 10 days.
That's right.
Better have food, the capacity to handle that for 10 days. Capacity for water. Take your extra water, right? Not only, and it's easy when you got a truck, you throw a case of water in the back there, but not just little bottles, right? Because what happens, like having something secured. So having a roto pack with water in it is more secured to the side of your rig, because you could lose the stuff laying in the back of your truck. You never know, right?
That's right.
So strap the things that are important that are down, be prepared for it. Bring your spare tire, bring your shovel, get your DMOS shovel. Shameless plug there. Onto your adventure rack system, and just be prepared with the extra fuel. I know that for a fact. I mean, we've all been in this. We were in this situation. You've run into it before out in Death Valley, where the service station wasn't even open. I wasn't there on that trip.
Mm-hmm. They were out of fuel. Yeah.
And then the year that one of the years that I went, you and I both rolled into Lone Pine on fumes. And because I gave my fuel to somebody else, and then I'll be fine. But then I'm rolling in on fumes just into the gas station. So it'd be prepared, and it's all about that. You don't know what the situation is going to be. You don't know how it's going to change. So the whole joy, the fun of this Death Valley trip is that you are testing your overlanding metal. You're testing your rock landing metal. How prepared are you? What are you using? What do you bring? And you can bring all the cool stuff, which we've done in the past, like, got the cool this, the cool that, and some guys just do an amazing job with all that. Or you're gonna be like me, and I'm gonna go a little bit opposite. I'm gonna go backpacker style, right? I'm gonna bring the backpacker foods. I'm gonna bring the lightweight stuff. But then I need to have plenty of propane, because my jet boil's got to have plenty of propane. All these little things that we got to have to make sure that we are doing well, and we can survive for up to 10 days if we needed to.
It's amazing what we end up with, and even the stuff that we've had that we haven't used, and then a new trip will use different things, right? Mm-hmm. So our adventure rack system that we have 2 water containers. They're only 1.75 gallon water containers. We carry 2. It was kind of always an emergency thing, but we're trying to get away from having all those plastic bottles and all of that. So the frustrating thing about those has been to get the water out of these Rotopacks, right? You have to take them off. You have to glug into something. Shout out to our friends at Dometic, which they have a USB rechargeable faucet that has a silicone hose on it. And it's just a touch on off. Literally, I can leave the Rotopacks on the side of the ARS rack, stick this silicone hose into the pour spout. I set the little Dometic faucet on the side of the Gladiator, and I hit go. It automatically pumps out 1 liter of water.
Wow.
It's bougie, but it's
bougie, but it works so well, and I can fill up my jet boil. We use it for cooking. We use it for cleaning.
I use it to wash my face, everything.
Yeah, it's
wow.
Those kind of things where, okay, how do we do things better? Mm-hmm. And we're constantly trying to evolve into what works, what doesn't. You know, I've been a Goal Zero fan in the past. And the last trip, you know, Philip needed a little bit more power than my little bitty Goal Zero had. And I had wanted something a little bigger anyway. So I bought a Blue Eddy. Well, that Blue Eddy is like 850 watt or 780 watt hours or something like that. But it's not very much bigger. But I don't now need to charge it every day. It'll go 3 days as much as we use it. We use it for, Jessy has I found her a USB powered electric blanket. So at night, when it's cold, she can plug her USB cord into this Blue Eddy battery and power her USB blanket all night long. And it draws very little power. It'll charge our phones, iPads, camera gear,
everything.
Yeah.
So which Blue Eddy did you get?
The 850S, I believe, is what it's called.
The 850S.
You can put your phone on top of it with the people that have the newer phones, and it charges them. It has everything you could ever want on it.
Wow. How big is it?
And it's not heavy at all.
It's like, you know, it's about
a shoebox size, maybe.
A little bit bigger than a shoebox. It's a little taller, a little shorter.
It's not bad. Wow. That's awesome. Yeah, the idea of a USB blanket like really excites me.
Amazon, and it was inexpensive. It was an Amazon thing. I think it was $29.95 or something like that.
It was a lifesaver. I don't do cold very well at all.
Yeah, especially at night. Yeah, I toss and turn. I just bought a new 4-inch mattress to go inside of my iCamper. So it's a 4-inch memory foam gel mattress that can go in there, and I'll have to trim it down. The one I got is like a queen. It's like 80 by 60, but I think the iCamper is like 80 by 50 or something like that. So you can just cut off 10 inches of it. But that 4-inch mattress is gonna be a game changer because I just be able to sleep and actually have a little mattress under you. I wake up in the morning and I'm just like, you know, it's like that the skeleton trying to get himself adjusted back into place. Don't work too well.
I love our Cuomo mat. It is a lifesaver for sure.
Yeah, we have a Cuomo top, which is another. It was an Amazon thing. I think they actually do have a formal website though. And again, I think it was $99, and it's a self-inflating, has baffles in it kind of thing.
It's a lifesaver for sure. I don't wake up and I can't move. I actually can move.
Cuomo top. Okay, so it's not. I was thinking Cuomo top, like you know, like Andrew Cuomo, New York's Andrew Cuomo top.
Right.
Like, yeah, I know. It's Cuomo top. QOMO top. Wow.
Yeah.
QOMO top. Cuomo top. Wow. That looks like a nice mattress.
It is very nice.
How thick is it?
It's about 3 inches. Yeah. It has 2 self-inflating valves. Typically, we put a little bit more air in there than
you guys put it away.
Letting it self-inflate.
Do you put it away at night, or do you just leave it inside the iCamper?
We leave it inside there, but you have to let all the air out of the on the Go Mammoth.
On our Go Mammoth, yes.
Yeah.
The iCamper is different. You could probably get away with not.
That's right. You have the Hey, the iCamper folds up pretty good, but it's but it still is kind of a pain in the butt because you still have the flap that comes out of the side of the hard shell, even though they have strings to try to pull it all in.
Right.
But I haven't done that. I haven't done a mattress in it yet. But you know, the memory foam mattresses, they do a pretty good job of collapsing down to nothing, so it should be fine. Worst case scenario.
I'm sorry, and I found the model of the Blue Eddy, and it's actually an EB70S.
EB70S.
Yes, it's 716 watt hours.
EB70S. Oh, there it is. EB70S, 800 watt, 716 watt hours. EB70S, about the size of a shoebox. Okay. Now, how long does it take you to charge that up?
You know, I haven't tried it with solar yet. I do have a solar panel for it, but I haven't. You know, we
haven't had to use it.
We've only used it for a couple of nights and haven't had to recharge it.
Oh,
so
wow.
Plugging it in, you know, a couple of hours, it's been recharged. So,
was it lithium ion?
It is. It's actually the new style. It's the LifePo 4.
LifePo 4. Oh, okay. LifePo, lithium ion Lithium, what is Fe? Ferret?
Ion or
Life,
iron. I don't know.
Life F.
Fe? I thought it was iron. I'm gonna get Marine for that.
But I do know that the new stuff, the LifePo 4 stuff, is supposed to have more cycles, whereas the original lithium ion would only charge, a quarter amount of times. The LifePo 4 is supposed to be able to, recharge 1,000 times or something.
The energy density of an LFP battery is slightly lower than a lithium ion battery. Their energy density falls between 90 to 165. Verdict: lithium ion batteries have a higher energy density. Okay. How does that help me?
We'll have to talk about the lithium rabbit hole I went down last night.
Yeah, we'll talk about that after Death Valley.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, with that, that's our tech tip of the week, is those blue eddies. Actually pretty good. And they look, guys, come in different colors. They got like a red, kind of
blue,
a teal.
black.
They got kind of a blue and a gray.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with I've always liked my Goal Zero stuff. My challenge really became when I wanted to use somebody else's solar panel to recharge my Goal Zero. They're very particular about their plugs and what plugs into them.
Yeah, very proprietary.
Very proprietary, and I get that. It's there's not a whole lot of standards out there. Yet there's a lot of manufacturers of solar panels and a lot of manufacturers of these batteries. So if you can put universal connectors on them and make them work with a variety of different things, I'm all about it. I love my Goal Zero stuff. The Blue Eddy stuff was a little bit less expensive as well. So yeah, there's that.
There's that. There you go. So USB blankets. So combine that with the USB blanket, and you too will have a nice, warm, toasty night while everybody else is freezing their butts off.
Warm, toasty.
That's right.
Well, I got to say, Corey, that I'm impressed that having Jessy along has upped your game, because it's all about making Jessy comfortable. And so you spent $500 on a battery, and another $30 on a $40, $50 on a blanket for her, and it's all for her because you were fine freezing your ass off.
That's right.
Yeah. The only reason you're doing a blanket right now is because Jessy needs it, right? It's not for you, of course.
I mean, no.
I know.
I shake my head every night as we start to set things up, but I get it. It is more comfortable. So
it is an interesting point, though. Like, usually what I'll do is I'll throw backpacks or I'll throw sleeping bags in, right? And I was actually thinking, I don't even need to. Why am I taking sleeping bags? Like, Jack and I are just going to sleep, and Jack jacks up his sleeping bags anyway and ends up all over the place. We're just sleeping in the same bed together, so I'm just going to take a bunch of blankets.
Yeah.
Although that being said, I do have a couple of the blankets that are like backpackers blankets that they like big, massive blanket that gets into a little package about that's big.
Yeah, little puffy blankets.
Yeah, so I'll bring a couple of those. Those would be good. But I never sleep. I always sleep in my clothes anyway. I fall asleep in my clothes, wake up in my clothes, do my work in my clothes, cleaning my clothes, sleep in my clothes. I just can't do it.
It's one of those things too. I've learned, and I'm the same way. Like, I will just crawl into my sleeping bag with really whatever I have on, and then I realize, you know what? If we put on the right stuff, our base layers, we put on long underwear. Oh my goodness, it makes such a difference. And our first days of camping in Death Valley, I kept waking up in the morning. I was freezing cold.
Or your feet are
cold. And, it turns out you can be smarter about some of that stuff. And is it take more work? It does.
It does.
It does.
Yeah. Sleep better.
I fall asleep. Literally, I usually fall asleep on top of my sleeping bag. Even when I go backpacking, because I go to sleep fully dressed when I go backpacking. I will fall asleep on top of my sleeping bag.
Right.
Then about 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, then you crawl into the sleeping bag, right? And then you wake up in the morning, and it's just,
I wish I could do that.
Even when I did the Pacific Crest Trail, like, I had a full routine. It was a take care of yourself routine. At the end of the night, get in bed, and there was all kinds of things. Pull out my two little wet wipes that I allocated for myself per night, right? My tea tree oil to allocate myself a little bit every night for certain areas, as well as the cleaning the feet and stuff. That was my thing every night. I had my routine, but I still slept in my clothes. So I don't know. and that just helped it. But then again, the backpack or the sleeping bag I was carrying was literally super small. I had 2 sleeping bags. I had the little super small one that just kind of, it was like a 10-degree bag. Like it was not meant for freezing weather. And I had a liner. So I had a liner that went inside of it, and that was fine. Technology has come so far that thing looks archaic now compared to that. For sure. I mean, come on, I think that was 13 years ago. Well, okay. So guys, we're going to have a lot of fun. It's 2 weeks now. Next week, we should be able to do this show, and record it, and we'll do it. You guys will be in Vegas. And so hopefully you'll have a chance. We'll talk about Jessy. And then the following week, we got to figure out how to do the show, because we're going to both be in Death Valley.
Right.
And
we may have to do some recording of it while we're in Death Valley, and then shoot it out when we get to some service or something.
Well, and that should be the case, because if I can get it done, I mean, I'll be heading out Wednesday. Is that when I'm? Let's see.
Yeah,
so
Wednesday.
So Wednesday. What time Wednesday you think we'll get back to Lone Pine?
My goal is always around 12 or 1.
Okay. So I'll have time to either do some work on it then, or just we'll head home and I'll just be working. I'll just produce it that night.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
You have cameras? Like we can do a GoPro setup or whatever, and sit there and do it at some point. Okay, cool. We'll make that happen. All right, guys. So next time you'll see us, we should be Corey and Jessy will be in Vegas, and then after that it'll be a Death Valley show, and then from there we keep going, because actually I'm looking at it. Looks like our announcement for the $5,000 giveaway is going to be Thanksgiving week.
Yes,
that'll be the announcing the winner. So that's actually worked out pretty good time, because we planned that. Yeah, I totally planned to be able to make the announcement on Thanksgiving Day.
Yes.
Awesome. Oh God, can you believe it's already November?
It's very close.
It's there. You might as well be there. It's just like, it's already November. It's already like we're already into this. Like it's almost Christmas time.
Yeah, let's not talk about Christmas decorations and all that stuff yet.
Dude, Costco's already got them. Costco got rid of Halloween costumes. It's all Christmas decorations.
1st of October, our Home Depot had already put in all their Christmas trees and everything. 1st of October.
Oh my God, that's psychotic.
It's wrong.
It is psychotic.
Like, where are my cactuses? We're not done with my cactuses yet, and they threw in Christmas trees.
Your cacti.
Yeah.
Is it cactuses or cacti?
Cacti.
Cacti.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of cacti,
we're gonna go find some.
You guys go find some. I am going to get back to it. And we appreciate all of you, Modern Jeepers, for joining us for this another crazy episode. You can reach me, Matt@Metalcloak.com, Corey at Metalcloak.com, Jessy at Metalcloak.com, of course, ModernJeeperAdventures.com, ModernJeeper.com, ModernJeeperShow.com, which is where you're supposed to be sharing this episode with your friends. Hashtag Modern Jeeper Show. Hashtag Modern Jeeper Show. And any other hashtag you want, like crazy guys, fools, whatever. But Modern Jeeper Show. Jessy's hot, whatever hashtags you want to do, that's fine, but it has to also include Modern Jeeper Show. Okay,
that's right.
And we'll find you and we'll make it happen. So thanks again for joining us for another great episode, and we'll see you on the trails.
Cheers.
See ya.